Hey.
Hey! So we're going to be given a nutrition talk today, and we have a special guest, Ashleigh. You're so far back. You're going to be sitting all the way over there the whole time. Do you need some pillows behind your back?
I like to lean back.
Oh, there she is.
Can we bring it a little closer?
No, we can't. Hey, Ashleigh. Okay, we got some people joining.
Request.
Oh, here she is. Oh, it's getting away from me. Do we even created a code?
Hey, Tammy.
So we got Tammy. I think I messed that up, Ashley. Oh, there she is. Hey!
Long time no see.
What's up?
How's it going?
Good.
I'm like, where are you at? You're in the procedure room? Where are you at?
Yep, procedure room.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a busy day, huh?
What's that?
It's been a busy day.
Very busy day.
I know. We had surgeries, we had consults, we had follow-ups, and then
Yes.
boom, we got live.
And Ashley, do we
I
have
see all my Columbus people on here. What's
Do
up,
we have a
Divas in the
code?
house? Do what?
do we have a code? Did we create a code?
We did. We created a code, and it is, of course, plant-based 20.
Okay.
So everyone
Let's put
can
it up there.
receive 20% off of our YovinoMD skincare products by using the code plant-based 20.
All the products?
Let me confirm.
Code.
And this, so this gives, what does the code give you, Ashley?
I'm sorry,
20%.
You said it was plant-based.
20. Yep.
Okay, for 20% off all products.
Yeah. Better than the Ashleigh 10.
And
Even though Ashley's a 10.
Ashleigh's 10.
watch out. We don't want any kind of, harassment complaints against you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let me just post that and then I'll pin it.
Awesome. Love it.
Wait, hold on.
Our plant-derived products.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Okay, so let me see if we
Awesome.
can bring this down. Okay, so why am I not able to lower that off your
From the top.
face? There we go. That's better. Yeah.
Yay.
So welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be on the other side of this, kind of. It's like, I don't know if I've ever gone live on my Instagram. So this might be a first for me.
Okay.
Just turn it up.
But it ain't my first rodeo.
So
Are you gonna bring in the horse?
Yeah, right?
don't go get that head.
I know. Yeah, don't make me go get my horse head.
His
Right?
horse head.
Cowboy
My horse
hat.
heads.
You're too far back. So we wanted to have a talk about nutrition. We think that's super important. We know everybody's gained, well, a lot of people have gained their COVID weight, and they're concerned about taking it off, getting back into shape, and things like that. And, I've kind of picked your brain because give everyone like a little background of why you're our special guest today and why we chose you. Sure. And what your credentials are, so they know where they're getting this information from.
Yeah, you mentioned like the COVID weight, and it's funny because I remember my freshman year of college, everyone was like, oh, the freshman 15, and now everyone's calling it the COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
People gain that weight, but for me personally, my passion for nutrition started over a decade ago. I've been plant-based for over 11 years now. And at the time in my life, I was working as a sports reporter, and I was traveling all over the country. So I would be flying from Columbus to Portland, Portland to Tampa, Tampa to LA, and I would be doing that multiple times a week. And it really took a toll on my body. I was young, and I should have felt so energized. I think it wasn't necessarily like how I physically looked or things like that. It was how I actually felt. I felt so weighed down and no energy, and that eventually began to transpire into my performance on camera. And so I did some research on my own about what would really be the best way to help increase my energy, help my skin, everything like that from all the flights and traveling, keep my immune system strong. And everything that I kind of read really led me to a plant-based diet. So that was 11 years ago, last month. So 11 years plant-based. And then about 6 years ago, I went back to school. I went to Cornell and I got certified as a plant-based nutritionist at their Center for Nutritional Studies. It's one of the best programs in the country when it comes to nutrition, plant-based nutrition, because that's all still something relatively new. Like in the 70s and 80s is when the veganism really started to come to be something that people labeled and things like that. And then really this plant-based revolution has really increased over the last, 15 years and things like that. And so,
well,
now,
let me cut you off right there.
Yeah.
What is the difference for people that are listening? What is the difference between plant-based and vegan?
Great question.
Because it's can be confusing at times.
Yes. Vegan is really full force, all ethical reasons, right? It is all ethical. There's no honey. There's no, you
And
don't
why is
wear
there no
leather.
honey?
You don't wear fur. It's all really ethically driven. Whereas plant-based, it's really focused on eating whole foods in their actual form. So all the ingredients that you cook with and you make with, it's nothing that is that you don't know what it is, right? So when you look at ingredients, oftentimes on the back of packaging and things like that, you're like, I don't know what this is. Like, I can't even pronounce this, you know? And plant-based is really foods in their whole form. And whether you use like a sweetener, and I mean, there was a time in which I had the availability in my schedule to make my own sweetener from dates and things like that. Like, that's not the case anymore. But I was really, really dedicated. And so it's really about using things in their actual form. And that's the plant-based diet. And so you think of ingredients as they are. It's very, very clean. And it's not necessarily not for ethical reasons, but our main, the driving factor behind it isn't really an ethical reason. It's to just eat really on this lifestyle and to, feel the benefits of a plant-based lifestyle.
But is the ultimate food in both diets the same? It's just the reason why
is a lot, like not a ton of tofu, not a lot of processed foods, and things that are a lot of times in the vegan community. A lot of the food that is vegan is, a lot of synthetic ingredients, a lot of corn, a lot of soy, things that the body doesn't necessarily digest very well. Or at least like for me personally, I can always tell when I eat something, like I get food hangovers now, you know what I mean? You think about actual hangovers, people don't realize you can get the same with your food. A lot of times when you go to takeout restaurants, you'll feel pretty lousy the next day because of how the food makes you feel. So, it's the same thing, like it's the same sort of mindset. And I found for me quickly, anytime I work with people on their diets and things like that, I say, give me 2 weeks. And typically the plant-based diet really resets the system. The energy is increased, sleep is improved, things like that typically happens in just 2 weeks. So yeah, that's pretty much the main difference though. So you think like plant-based diet, actually think of plants, foods in their whole form, things as they actually are. You want to know all of the ingredients. You want to be able to actually know what they are, not just pronounce them, but know where they come from. If it is a preservative, what type of preservative, how's my body going to digest this? We look at so many things that we do in our day-to-day lives, but when it comes to our food, we actually kind of let that one fall by the wayside. We're not as strict about that, when really that is, the biggest thing that plays into how we feel on a daily basis. Good mood, good food, good mood. You know what I mean? It kind of goes like hand in hand. So I always like to think that like your food, you change your relationship with food and how you eat, you change your relationship with the whole world around you, because that is like such an intimate and personal thing. And that's something that we actually don't think about the most. You know what I mean?
You've been plant-based for a long time, but I was thinking like when we did your precision sculpt a couple of years ago, did you change your diet at that time too, but to a more strict plant-based or different? Or?
What I've really done, whether it was like over the last year or even 2 years ago, is I did increase my protein. because I felt like for as the precision sculpt, the diet, everything like that, I still could have been a little bit more cut, you know? And so over the last year, I would say I really increased. I brought my favorite plant-based protein, and I left a sample on your guys' desk because I wanted you to actually try it live today, but we got so busy. So there's a sample waiting for you guys on your desk. But I really increased my protein, and I really got back to more of the plant, being strict with my diet, because I think when I moved to LA, I made so many lifestyle changes in general. You know, I went from being a sports reporter who was working remotely everywhere to sitting at a desk for the first time ever, to not having as much freedom with my workouts and things like that. So my body changed, my headspace changed. All of these changes happened in my life. And so I think that Precision Sculpt actually gave me an opportunity to kind of like reset myself, to recommit myself, refocus myself to my diet, my exercise, how I want to feel. You know, I was like, I'm not giving up this opportunity. This isn't like, you know, I'm going to make the most of this. You know what I mean? So I really have been so consistent over the last 2 years with my exercise. That's something that's really changed from the first like 3 years that I lived in LA. My exercise wasn't as important. And so the last 2 years, it's really like taken priority in my life. I will like cancel plans if I don't get to get my workout in or things like that now.
Good, yeah.
And so I've recommitted myself over the last 2 years to being a little bit more strict with my diet, cutting out a lot of processed foods, breads and things like that over the last 2 years, that even though they're vegan and everything like that, they may not be awful for me. I think the reset allowed me to see what foods and how they make me feel. And so I definitely have done that over the last few years. I've increased my protein and just have been very diligent with my workouts. And I think that's what's helped me, you know?
Did you feel like you had to increase your workouts because you were working out pre-COVID twice a day?
Yeah.
You would come in already have worked out, and then you'd leave and you'd go work out.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's like really, really dedication. And then you basically have your whole lunch in a shake. You know?
You know,
the shake.
It's like a salad, bunch of water. Her water's like a baby barrel. And I'm like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You know, what I'm an advocate of is finding what works for you, right? And for some people, it may not be plant-based. For some people, it's maybe 50% plant-based, you know? Sometimes I'll call myself...
Jose's on the horn. You can see Jose.
Hi, Jose.
His little picture. Hi, Jose. Just want to shout out. Go ahead.
Sometimes I'll call myself a chegan because I'll be like a cheating vegan. And so, but you got to find what works for you. And for me personally, I feel my best when I really rely on liquid nutrients for the first part of my day. And there is a method to that, right? The method is that when you consume foods and you eat something, digestion is kind of broken down into a 3-step process. So the first step is liquefaction. How easily are the foods that you're eating, can your body liquefy it, right? So much of our bodies expends energy just breaking down and liquefying the food that we eat. And then the next part is how easily absorbable are the nutrients that you're eating? Is it recognizable in the body? Is it easily absorbed? Can it easily be assimilated into the body? And for me, I feel my best when I have my smoothies and my protein shakes. It's already liquefied. I can conserve all of my energy to put towards, you know, building the practice and all of our patients and things like that. I can conserve that for those 2 workouts in a day. You know what I mean? I can conserve all of that energy to leave here and feel great and, you know, be able to go on a workout after work. Because a lot of times people leave the office and they're like, I'm drained, you know, I can't imagine working out, right? Yeah. And so imagine if we could conserve a lot of your energy that you have.
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know, imagine if we could increase your energy so that when you leave work, you know, you feel like, I can't wait to go for a run, you know? I can't wait to move my body and things like that, you know? So for a lot of people, incorporating liquids in their diets is really going to be a game changer. It's a great way to get fiber. It's a great way to really increase assimilation of the nutrients that you consume. And it's a great way to just keep the digestive process easy on your body. You know, your body doesn't have to go into extra time to digest the food because it's pretty much already digested. So,
but don't you want less digestion so you don't absorb as much, so then you don't gain as much weight?
Not really. You know, you want to digest good things. You want to digest good nutrients, things that is going to fuel your body, keep your skin looking great. You know, that's going to help enhance your curves. That's going to help, you know, increase your body's ability to play, you know, a full round of golf after work or things like that. You know what I mean? You want to have that energy. And so you need to, you know, really focus on eating foods like that are, it has purpose in it. You know what I mean? So I used to work with a lot of athletes on their diet, you know, and I would always tell them, you know, you need to eat like you care. You know, a lot of people don't eat like you care. I'm like, you got to eat like this contract. Your next contract depends on it, you know, and that really changes the mindset for a lot of people when, you know, if you eat like, you know, it's your life depends on it, because it kind of does, you know. And so when people have that shift in their mindset, it really allows them to kind of see what's going to work best for them and how it's sustainable. I think that's like one of the biggest things, is finding something that's sustainable. And you know me, I've been coming in with my jugs for like, you know, years now. This has not been like.
Can't say jugs around him because he's like a little boy, a teenager. Jugs.
Yeah.
But I, like, not to like beat down a dead and dying horse, but if I would think that if you were a weight that you didn't want to be, and you want your body to use the energy that it already has,
Mm-hmm.
but you also want to feel satiated, not feel like you're starving all the time,
Right.
then to eat foods that are harder to break down, or maybe won't break down, but that will keep you full, you know, seems to be like a better plan than eating something that can digest and absorb easily, because then you're going to absorb all the stuff, and then you're just going to burn that rather than go into your stored fat stores.
So one thing that a lot of people encounter when they are kind of introduced into the plant-based lifestyle is that they can actually eat more and lose weight, because what you are eating is so nutrient dense. And nutrient dense means it's low in calories, high in nutrition, high in nutritional value. Lots of leafy greens, pretty much all vegetables. A lot of them are nutrient dense. And so you can fill up on those fibers, and your body and your metabolism and everything like that can burn through it so quickly. You know, it's some of the most easily digested food, the most easily liquefied food, and you're going to gain so much more from it because there's so much more nutrients in it. And it's high in fiber. And that's actually what is going to really keep you feeling full. You know what I mean? It's the fiber that, you know, most diets lack. You know, when you go to a grocery store, you see fiber supplements everywhere, you know, and it's because a lot of times we get so far away from fiber, and we're just, you know, animal protein, and it's the fiber that gives you the energy. It's the fiber that your body can really burn and use so much to put towards, you know, your performance in any aspect of life. You know, that's like one thing that I really loved when I moved to LA is people here, no matter what they want to do, they want to perform at a high level, right? This is LA. Everyone wants to be at the top of their game, no matter what it is, right? So, you know, I had, you know, recording artists asking me about plant-based nutrition. You know, everyone wanted to perform at the top of their game, you know? And so that's really, to me, what this diet does. And now you see it all over, you're right? It's all throughout sports. There's so many athletes that are just performing at the very top of their game on this plant-based diet. And it's because it's really great for inflammation as well. You can really, a lot quicker recovery, you know, and that's one thing too. Like when it comes to precision sculpt, people ask me about it all the time. I'm like, oh, it's great. I felt great 2 days after. I was back in the office, and you know, all of that. And I think a lot of that honestly had to do with my diet, you know, and
yeah.
I was so committed to the smoothies and so committed to the leafy greens and the salads, and just really recommitted to myself. I think that's potentially what the
Yeah, you know that. The healthier you are coming into anything, right? You typically
Right.
better coming out of it.
Right.
Definitely something that is somewhat traumatic, you know?
So
Right,
what about
right.
like sometimes I've gone to a restaurant and I've looked at their menu and they have the calorie count. You know, you're scanning over like, I need something that's low in calorie. I need something that's low in calorie. And then you see a salad and you go like, okay, let me first go look at the salads. And
Right.
some of those salads are like 1,100 calories.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, what? Like
Right.
this salad's 1,100 calories, but I can get
Okay, I
this.
get the cheeseburger.
Yeah, I can get this cheeseburger or this like stuffed pepper or whatever, and it's only like 600 calories or 4. Wouldn't it? Which one's the better one to go with? The one that's a salad that's high in calorie, or something that's lower in calorie? You know,
Salads can be,
but maybe that is pasta, or that has like pasta, or has bread, or has, you know,
right.
meat, but it's lower in calorie. Which would you say would be like the better one to go with?
Salads are tricky because those, you look at those salad dressings and those ingredients and things like that. I mean, most salad dressing, like the amount of sugar that's in there, that will, you know, that's your sugar, you know, intake for a couple days, right? So you really have to be aware of what's going into your salads, right? It's a lot of cheese. It's a lot of candied nuts. It's a lot of, you know, really heavy salad dressings, things like that. And so I think, you know, if your goal is to really lose weight and you kind of are one of those people where you're at a time in your life where you have to really focus yourself on that, you know, and sometimes it's got to be a little boring for like a month, right? You know, or 2 weeks. You really kind of have to reset, you know, a little bit. And so
Are you trying to give me that same speech again? He's like whispering, you basically can't eat.
Yeah. Here, I'll give you a leaf of lettuce and you're pretty much all set.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone's asking, so what about inflammation other than swollen feet? Swollen feet after you eat at a restaurant? I think that's probably from all the salt that they put in it. How do you alleviate
tons of oils? You know, all of those restaurants use those canola oils, vegetable oils.
Yeah, let's go over that in 1 second. What about how do you alleviate clinical anemia eating only plant-based?
Yeah,
so
that's
anemia,
a great question.
Part of anemia, one of the anemias is big fat pig is what they call it, right? Pernicious anemia or B12 deficiency. And that's where you have megaloblastic anemia, where your red blood cells are a little bit larger than they should be. And that's from a B12 deficiency. And that you see often in plant-based. Is that correct?
Totally. Absolutely. So I'm happy that you brought that up. So, you know, one of the things that when you are making these lifestyle changes and things like that is to, one, make sure that you're doing it in a safe manner. So, you know, whether you consult your internist or things like that, whoever you see, just to maybe let them know that you're making these lifestyle changes and blood work, whatever, if you feel like that's necessary, that's always a great start to do. But there's also things that if you are transitioning, you need to be mindful of. And one of them is the B12. That is something that a plant-based diet typically lacks because B12 is commonly found in animal protein. But there's lots of options for that. One of my favorite is this right here. It's called Nutritional Yeast. All right, it's a deactivated yeast. And it is loaded with B12. And it says that excellent source of vitamin B12. And this is a great way to incorporate. And it tastes just like cheese. It has like a cheesy flavor to it, but it kind of looks like goldfish food if you can see a little bit of it. But it has great flavor to that. And you can sprinkle it on anything. Sprinkle it on whatever that you're eating for dinner. What's that?
Or it like kind of looks like Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a great, the lid and stuff like that is actually just like Parmesan cheese.
So do you like the taste of it? I
love the taste of it. Like, I love this. And it goes great on everything, you know.
Does it have calories?
It has 20 calories in 1 tablespoon.
Okay, not bad.
So this is a great way to incorporate. I'm a big believer in eating your vitamins. Okay?
I was just gonna say, you'd rather do that than take a B12 pill?
I would rather
multivitamin?
I would rather do this and take a B12 pill. Well, multivitamins are good things as well. These are my favorites. But one thing that you need to think about, you know, if you can eat your vitamins, that's going to be your best bet because that's what's going to be most absorbed into the body. A lot of vitamins on the shelves these days are loaded with synthetic ingredients. You know, they're encapsulated in these like sugar caps and things like that. they come with a lot of other things instead of actually what they say on, you know, the label. So, you know, it's a little bit of an investment, right? When you are making this change. Go ahead, Dr. Sarah.
We do offer B12 shots.
Yes, we do.
Kara's saying she's a B12 shot.
I was going to say that too. I was sticking it in my head. But, you know, if you can eat your vitamins, that should be the goal. But if you are, you know, if you struggle with anemia and things like that, then, you know, you want to make sure that you're getting the proper supplements. You know, like for me, I think I was struggling to get protein, to be honest with you. You know, I was, as much as I was working out, I'm like, there's got to be an ab underneath there somewhere, you know, like, you know, I was looking for more definition in other places. And so incorporating a protein supplement has really helped me and has helped me feel energized and helped me recover and everything like that. So you can't just make the change and expect it's going to be super easy. You need to be mindful about it and make sure that you're prepared and, you know, do some research and things to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success, not just making this transition with none of the proper things, you know, in your home to facilitate all of the changes that you want to make. You know, there's should be some mindfulness to it. And especially when it comes to food. I mean, yeah, you know, like be mindful about your food. If you're going to be mindful about, you know, anything, you know, what you put into your body is like a, you know, it counts for so much of your quality of life.
Yeah.
How are the lads? Do you see that comment? That's a Newcastle Football Club over in England is my favorite soccer team over there. So how are the lads?
Okay. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So for anybody that is thinking about going plant-based, how would they start? Where would they start? Where would they?
It's a
and
good
you're thinking
question.
of all the nutrition of after post-surgery, this, that. This is what you're recommending. You're recommending for, if you could tell somebody the best piece of nutrition advice, it would be to go plant-based.
Yep. So there's two things that I would say. So the first would be to start with one meal. Maybe start it with breakfast. Do that for 2 weeks. Get that down. And then in that next 2 weeks, make your lunch plant-based, right? So then now you have breakfast and lunch. Get that down for 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks, try your dinner. And then before you know it, after 6 weeks, you're plant-based. And I think I'm a big believer in sustainable change, right? So many people, we live in a society of quick fixes, fad diets, all of these different things. And we want sustainable change. We want something that you can say, look back and say, yeah, I've been plant-based for 11 years, right? How can you make that sustainable? And so it's really about finding daily habits that you can do, right? You are a makeup of your habits. And so if you can have your daily habits, and if you start with just breakfast for 2 weeks, go to lunch for 2 weeks, and then dinner, you know, see how you feel. And a lot of people, what I find is that they really exceed at going plant-based pretty much up until dinner. And they love the way that they feel. You know, they feel so energized. And then if they need a little piece of fish or, you know, some chicken at dinner, it works. You know, it's totally worth it to have those 2 meals in that first part of your day be plant-based. And then just eventually work into, and if you're not perfect at dinner, if you're not plant-based at dinner, who cares, right? But find what works for you. And so typically a slow build, just like you always talk about, Dr. Sarah, with your lip augmentations, it's a slow staging. It's the same thing with this because it allows you to get acclimated. It doesn't feel like you're all of a sudden turning your whole life upside down, you know, and it's a great way to implement sustainable change. So that's a good way to start going plant-based. Then,
So no eggs and bacon for breakfast.
No
so for
eggs
those
or bacon
people that
for
are
breakfast.
just used to that's breakfast mindset.
Right.
So what would you recommend? Is that where you just start thinking of like avocado toast and things like that?
Sure.
What would you
So
recommend?
the first thing, so to finish up on, okay, I'll get to that part later. Okay. So so the first thing that anyone should ever do in the morning, you know, our bodies are made up of so much water, is to drink at least 24 to 32 ounces of warm water with lemon. Okay, and you want a half of an organic lemon.
Like, where'd you pull that out of?
So you want 32 ounces of warm water, and the temperature of the water is almost just as important of the nutrients as the lemon. When we're sleeping, our body is working overtime. That's when our brain is really detoxing itself. That's when all of our organs and everything is detoxing itself. That's why we wake up with sleep in our eyes and stuff like that, because our body is working overtime. So we want to wake up. We want to brush our teeth, because that's also when people have like the film on the tongue and things like that. So you want to brush your teeth. And then the first thing that you should put in your body is 32 ounces of warm water with half of an organic lemon squeeze in it. That should be it, okay?
It's 4 big 8-ounce glasses.
Drink up, Dr. Sarah. You know, your body is so much water, right? And so it's important that we're filling it with water. Why do you think I carry this thing around all day, okay?
Yeah, where are you filling that water? Where are you getting that water? Someone's asking, do you use any type of water purifier?
So there's a delivery service called Glacier Water that has really good water.
Go up your faucet, I guess.
It's the best water in town. But it, you know, I don't know if it's like it's pH or anything like that. You know, I pay attention to that, but I'm not like, you know, I have other things to think about, so I'm not totally overly concerned with the pH alkalinity of my water. I just like to drink it. So, but there's a bunch of different water services that, you know, deliver, you know, good purified water and things like that. So that's what I do. And then, you know, really the first thing in your body, nutrient wise, should also be liquid. You know, if you could do a smoothie, do a shake, something like that, that's going to set you up for success. And the reason why I really encourage people to start with breakfast is because that sets the tone for your whole day, right? If you are being disciplined at your breakfast, chances are you're going to be disciplined at lunch. And if you're disciplined at lunch, you're going to be like, I've been so good this whole day. I don't want to mess it up. You're going to make better choices at dinner, you know? So
yeah, Justin's like, I'm not sure. Okay,
yeah.
Let's talk about smoothie choices, because you get to the smoothie bar and then there's like strawberry and banana and orange and this, and then you see this almond and date and milk and banana, and then you see these green smoothies that are like kale and spinach and apple and lime. Okay, which one's the best one for you? I always thought the green ones might be the best ones over the sugary sweet ones. He loves the banana and I like the green ones. Like,
So
is there so inappropriate? I think we just need to just do this and cut him up. Anyway, so what would you recommend on that?
Sure. You know, I guess it depends on your goals, you know, like for, you know, for me, I'm a big believer in fruits and the antioxidants that come with fruits and how eating fruit makes me feel. So for some people, you know, if you're looking for something that is probably maybe lower on the calorie side and is going to help weight loss and things like that, you're going to want to lean a little bit more towards like the green smoothies, right? It's going to have like cilantro and very low fruit.
Spinach.
Yeah, that's going to be the smoothie for you. You know, if you're not, you know, if you're fine with consuming fruits and things like that, by all means, lean into the blueberries, the strawberries, peaches, everything like that you can have, because, you know, fruit has such a bad rap. You know, I feel bad for fruit because it's like sugar. It's the type of sugar that is very easily digested into the body. It's not the type of sugar that you find in candy or anything like that, you know? So it's not going to, you know, you're not going to gain a ton of weight by eating fruit because it's low in calorie. It may be higher in carbs and things like that, but your body can burn through that so quickly. I'm just going to brighten my screen quickly. Oh, okay, there we go.
And what about, okay, so that's breakfast. You recommend a smoothie. And then for lunch,
yes.
I know that's your smoothie number 2 of the day, but what do you recommend for other people? Like if they were going to a restaurant, what should they pick on the menu?
Yep. Yeah, so if you're going plant-based and you're eating lunch and you're wondering like what to eat and things like that, you know, really this is where you want to embrace a big bowl of like leafy greens. You can get some grains in there like quinoa and things like that. If you do need a small side of animal protein, that's totally fine. You can get some salmon or chicken, but really you want to have leafy greens be the base of what you're eating at lunch. Again, it's easily digestible. It's not going to slow you up. We want to think of our digestion as like the 405, okay? In the morning, it's nice and open. No one's on the 405. So that's like our digestional tract. It's open.
But it backs up quickly.
So then we want to eat things that are going to keep that traffic nice and clear, right? It's going to keep the highway nice and open. If we instead at lunchtime eat pizza, or maybe we get a burger, things that have, you know, the enriched flours and things like that, that's going to create a traffic jam in our digestional tract. So the leafy greens and things like that are really good at lunchtime. And then when it comes to dinner, this is the time where you can really eat more things that are, I always like to say, eating with the cycles of the day. So in the morning, we have all of our fruits, our lemon water, things that are, you know, hanging on high rising trees and things like that. And then as the day go on, you know, we can incorporate potatoes, beets, things that grow from the ground. And you can eat more grounding foods towards the end of the day and at dinner and things like that. So eating kind of creates this nice little harmony within your body when you kind of eat with the flow of the day. Eat seasonal. I'm a big believer in eating seasonal fruits and vegetables because it's going to have the richest nutrients in it and things like that. So, you know, lunch, you want to have the leafy greens. At dinner, you can have more of, you know, the potatoes and some more grains and things like that at dinner time. And that's also good for your body too, because it is a little bit more grounding food. You know what I mean? It does kind of make you feel like you're getting a little bit prepared for the end of the day. And so that's one of my philosophies when it comes to nutrition, is not only eating seasonally, but eating sort of with the rhythm of the day and getting your fruits and things like that in the morning, and grounding foods and grains and things like that later as the day goes on.
And what's your viewpoint on, well, keto? Like the keto's all the rage right now. Some people are doing it high fat, moderate protein, low carb. And what do you think about that diet?
So I think anything that's like, and you know, some may look at as a plant-based diet as being restrictive, but I think anything that's too restrictive is not super sustainable. And so when a diet like keto, you know, pulls back so much and you're only you know, allowed a limited amount of nutrients, I never lean into that too much. I always like something that offers a spectrum of nutrients and is going to be sustainable. It's the same thing like with intermittent fasting, right? That's all the rage.
That's my next question.
Yeah. And I think fasting serves a purpose in our diets, but I don't think it's sustainable. And so I think, you know, at the end of the day, I think keto perhaps serves a purpose, right? It may get you to where you want to be, but anything that, in my opinion, results in having keto breath, or a lot of times people's urine smells really bad on keto diets and things like that, that tells me in general that it may be not the most sustainable thing. And it may not be, so if it's too restrictive, I don't believe in things like that. And so it may work, right? And I'm sure it has its place in people's diets and things like that. But I think the whole goal is going to be able to find something that is you're going to be able to do every single day. It's a lifestyle, you know, like we have to eat.
You know, we always tell patients, like, you know, you're having this big surgery, you're having sculpting, you're having this, you're having that. You need to protect your investment. It's very important to protect your investment. And that means good diet and a good exercise. So what do you say to people who are, you know, thinking between, okay, well, how can I keep my weight at bay, or how can I lose some of the extra weight that I have on me? Should I do intermittent fasting? And then sometimes with intermittent fasting comes like days of fasting, or should I do multiple small meals a day? What is better for sculpting and getting in better shape in the, you know, for the long run? What do you think about that?
Sure. I'm probably going to say here it is potentially a combination, or the small meals a day, because that's what's gonna be the sustainable change for people to make. The intermittent fasting, eventually people can't sustain that, you know, can't sustain going the whole, you know, 12 hours without eating or something like that, you know? And again, it's not, I think if you're doing it right, you don't need to intermittent fast. You know, if you're doing it right, if you're disciplined and things like that, that is, I think, a big part of the problem, is the discipline and obedience and things like that. That can be very challenging when making the lifestyle changes. So I've probably said like sustainable so many times. But, you know, I really, you know, believe in finding, you know, ways in which you can be healthy every single day and do a little something every single day to really better yourself. And so to me, it makes sense that the small meals, you know, it's going to kick up your metabolism, right? Your body's going to burn through things quickly. And then you want to boost that metabolism, and you want to be making sure that you're, you know, filling your body with good things that your body can burn. And it's also going to help lean you out, drop the weight, clear up your skin. All of these different types of things come from sustainable, healthy eating.
Are you growing anything at your place to make it even more sustainable?
What's that?
Are you growing anything?
I know. I wish I had like more.
Besides weed?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Are you really growing anything you can eat?
No, I want to get one of those little things that you can grow, like cilantro and things like that.
Have you seen those towers?
Yes.
They're like this white tower.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love something like that, you know, but I don't have anything like that right now. I just got my first house plant, so let's see how I do with that. And then maybe I'll venture into, you know, some cilantro, parsley, things like that. But
Zucchinis like I grew during COVID.
What's that?
Zucchinis like I grew during COVID.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That, I remember that during COVID. And I remember, is your garden still like popping?
No, you know, went through you know, some of that stuff is seasonal. So you have to like clear the crops and then replant. And I just decided not to do zucchini again. I think I'm, you know, scarred for life and probably can't eat any more zucchini anymore after that season.
It got COVID and died in the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, my tomato plants are still kicking though. I've trimmed them and manicured them a little bit. And I have like pineapple and basil and rosemary and thyme.
Wow.
And I have my pomegranate tree and lemon and lime and orange. So,
hey, so you have no excuse to not drink your lemon water every morning.
True.
Well, the lemons aren't on the tree anymore. I picked them all.
Oh, okay.
So they're little. I think I need to like fertilize a little bit better.
Fish that we used for on the fish? Yeah, that's good.
I use all of our fresh stuff as much as I can. And then the oranges I'll pick and I'll juice them for Tyler. Tyler loves that.
Just, Kara says, you remember we showed the massive crop. Yeah, they were huge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I remember Dr.
They were like
Kara gifted me
obscene.
with a
So
couple
I didn't realize
zucchinis.
there's two kinds. I didn't realize there's two kinds of tomato plants. There is the determinate and indeterminate, and the determinate ones are the ones that grow to a predictable height, and then, you know, flower and then produce the tomatoes, and then, you know, you harvest it, and then at the end of the season it dies. But the indeterminate grows like a vine, and it keeps growing, and it keeps sprouting, and it keeps sprouting and sprouting. And so it turns into this like almost like a chia pet thing, this huge massive thing that grew into my orange tree and over my orange tree and over the other side of it. And it was just so big and unruly that I was like, you know what, I need to cut this down. Because once I, of course, like watched a YouTube video on it, but once I watched it, I saw that it's like the longer it grows and the more it branches, the smaller the tomatoes become. And in some branches, it just sucks the energy from the tomato plant. It doesn't produce larger, bigger, beautiful, bigger tomatoes. So you have to keep it at bay. And so now I've chopped down, pulled it from my tree and you know, brought it back to like a bush size. And now I'm getting bigger tomatoes again.
Nice. It's a big commitment having a garden like that. It's a big commitment. You know, I did want to tell you one thing too, because I kind of was speaking on this a little bit earlier, but you had said if I could offer, you know, any nutritional wisdom. So when I was traveling all the time as a sports reporter, and this was after I had gotten certified as a plant-based nutritionist, I had two facts that I would try to leave the person sitting next to me with on the plane, because If you were sitting next to me on the plane, you were either putting your headphones on or you were getting ready for a conversation because I'm a talker.
Oh, no, you're one of those.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so
no.
the two things that I would tell people is, and I'm telling you, I lean into this, guys, the lemon water is such an impactful thing you can do for your health. So if you can wake up every morning and have your warm water with lemon, that is going to do profound things for your health, and it sets the tone for the day. The other tip that I would always tell people is to ditch the dairy, because there's nothing good in dairy.
Yeah, a lot of people say they can't go plant-based. Like, how can I give up cheese?
Right. So cheese, there's nothing beneficial in cheese in the human body other than potentially the flavor. And it's 2021. There are so many amazing, healthy, plant-based cheeses on the market made from ingredients that you already know and love that are great ways to incorporate into your diet. And I'm telling you, you won't even miss the cheese. You won't miss the cheese.
Cashew
So,
cheese?
cashew cheese.
I love me some cashew cheese. You know, there's all kinds of things out there, you know? There's all kinds of things out there now. You know? I would just encourage people.
Sounds like a hip hop star.
Well, the first time I had cashew cheese was when we went to a Real Food Daily, which is a restaurant here in LA. And I remember I had this Mediterranean salad and had hominy and fresh tomatoes and cucumber and a big thing of cashew cheese in the center, and had like some pita bread on the side. And I remember it was the tastiest salad that I had ever had. And I was like, this is amazing. Amazing.
Cashews are one of those ingredients that, like, when you become plant-based, you don't realize how amazing cashews are. I've made frosting for cakes with cashews and things like that, because you can add any flavor to it and it like takes on that flavor. So I love like I'll make cashew cheese and I'll put a bunch of this in it, and it gives it such a really nice, you know, cheesy flavor. And cheese is like not one of the things like that I really ever missed when I went plant-based. You know, to be honest with you, I never really missed much, you know. Giving up meat was one of the easiest things.
Every time I would cook food and it would be in our room, our office, and you would walk in, you're like, that smells so good. And I was like,
doesn't mean I miss it. It just smells good.
I'm like, today's the day. Ashley's gonna cave.
Yeah,
she's gonna eat some of this, and then you wouldn't. You know, I was like,
yeah, it's funny because even like to this day, you know, like my dad's like, you want a piece of steak? And I'm like, 11 years, Dad. Not kidding. You know, still not doing it. Or, you know, like if I was a little under weather, he's like, you probably just need some chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope.
Okay, what's the budget like on the plant-based diet? Is it more expensive, less expensive? What do you?
You know, I think you can definitely do plant-based diet on a budget. I think when people initially make the switch and transition into a plant-based diet, you're buying a lot more things, or like condiments that you just regularly keep in your home that aren't plant-based. And if you replace all of that, your initial grocery shopping bills, I'm sure, will probably be a little bit higher than what they typically are. You know, for me, I probably spend maybe like $75 a week at the grocery store, maybe $100, depending. But I also consume like a lot of stuff for smoothies, and, you know, I'm buying tons of lemons and things like that. So I'm probably around closer to $100 at the grocery store every week.
But steak and meat is not cheap either.
Right.
You know, they're not cheap. Milk's expensive these days. All this other, you know, those aren't things that but almond milk's probably expensive. I don't know how much it is almond milk.
Yeah, almonds and things like that like are typically expensive and things like, but
and you were saying you make your own cashew cheese, which I found to be really interesting. So tell us how you make that. Yeah.
So I used to make my own almond milk too, believe it or not. There was a time in which I was just milking almonds, you know. So cashews are great because you can soak them in water for even like 15, 20 minutes, and they will reduce very easily. So I would soak cashews, probably about like a couple cups of cashews, in completely submerged in hot water. And depending on how much I was making, you know, you just like to make sure that they're completely covered in hot water. Then I drained some of that, and I add in whatever it is that you want. You know, you can
Wait,
add in
time out.
cilantro.
Really fast. Okay, so do you boil the water first, or you just put it in under the sink and make it like it's hot to touch, and then it doesn't last 20 minutes? It's hot.
If you're on a time crunch, boil the water.
Okay.
Right? If you're looking
you
to,
pour
if
it
you're
on top
looking to
and
make
like, sit
something
on the
quick,
counter?
What's that?
You pour it on top and just let it sit on the counter and cool itself, or do you actually put it in a pot, and you keep it?
You can just pour in the boiling water in a container that can like hold the hot water and the cashews. So for me, I have what's this? Unsalted. You can do salted cashews if you wanted. You know, if you're being conscious of the sodium, I would get unsalted. But for me,
but you
I
would
get
salt and
roasted
pepper it yourself. You said.
What's that?
You would salt and pepper it yourself.
Yes, I would salt and pepper it. I would add in some garlic cloves. I add in as much nutritional yeast as I want. Like I kind of cover the whole top layer with it. And then just like in pasta, how you usually want to save the pasta water, you want to save some of that cashew water as well. And then all you need is a high-speed blender, and you just blend it. And it's almost a little bit more like a dip, so to speak. But if you leave it in the fridge, it will eventually take the nice shape of like a cheese wheel, you know.
I'm asking you if you have a favorite cookbook.
A favorite cookbook? Yes. And I don't remember the name off the top of my head. I have my.
You didn't bring that as a prop?
Can you believe I didn't bring? I brought my own lemon, and I didn't bring my favorite cookbook. Oh man.
Maybe it will pop in your head.
It will pop in my head. It's something about wild.
Wait, somebody's saying something. I'm vegan, and she's in love. She's at the 90-day mark, and she's already lost 20 pounds.
Good for you.
Awesome. But one thing is that with plant-based, you're able to have honey, right? But when you're vegan, you feel like that's abuse of the bees, so you won't eat honey. Is that correct? Is that
correct? Yeah. It's a little bit more of like an ethical thing, I think, for vegans to not eat honey or anything like that. So I do eat honey. Vegans, go easy on me.
Now, what about a favorite website?
Kill the bees?
Well, they say it's abuse of honeys.
Of bees?
Yeah.
Honeys?
Don't be insensitive to the bees, Dr. Justin.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I just killed a spider the other day.
Oh my God, now we're going to get hate mail.
And I don't feel bad.
Don't DM me that.
What were you saying, Dr. Sarah?
What about, if you can't think of the cookbook, do you have a favorite website that you get a lot of these good recipes from?
Yes. One of my favorite websites is called Oh She Glows, like OHSHE Glows, GLOWS, Oh She Glows. Okay. And she also has a cookbook. And then there's another girl on Instagram too. I think I've sent you her profile before. Her name's Erin Ireland.
Is it the vegan like something?
I don't think she has vegan in her name, but she has her name's Erin Ireland, ERIN, last name Ireland, like the country. And she has an awesome Instagram with tons of recipes. And, you know, one of the things that I love to do is to recreate some of my favorite dishes. So, like, I love fettuccine Alfredo. Obviously, I'm not eating fettuccine Alfredo. So I don't only like to find ways to recreate it, but I want it to be super healthy. And so I found like a cauliflower fettuccine Alfredo sauce recipe and things like that. You know, it's about taking your favorite foods and making it so that when you eat it, you feel good about yourself. You know, I remember I did a whole vegan Christmas for my family one year, a plant-based Christmas meal, and everyone was so surprised at how they felt after they ate. You know, food should not bring you down. Food should not like food should not
I say they wouldn't celebrate it at McDonald's.
You know, it should be the opposite. It should energize you. So I just think, you know, we've gotten so used to like eating things and we don't realize about how it makes us feel afterwards. You know? What are you guys laughing at?
He's just, you know, the peanut gallery over here. You're like, and they felt so amazing after. They were surprised at how amazing they felt. He's like, yeah, they went and celebrated at McDonald's. It's just like, so the comments are just so like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Just you wait, Dr. Justin. I'll have you eating cashew cheese in no time.
Well, I don't think he's tried the bitchin' sauce yet, you know?
Oh.
You did? Yeah. He liked it.
Really good.
It's good, right?
Yeah, that was almonds. That was almond sauce.
Yeah, that was really tasty.
Really tasty.
That was from Sprouts. We got it from Sprouts.
You know, I do like I pretty much do like the liquid diet. You know, you notice I drink the little protein drinks. Of course, they're all made. You know, I just buy them and they're probably not the best. That's the point. But I go light in the mornings. This little protein drink, and then I'll have a yogurt or fruit, and then lunch. You know, well, we ate that burrito thing, but I only ate half of that.
Yeah.
You know, so I go light for the most part. Smaller meals. Sometimes I'll, you know. But I feel like I'm fairly good throughout the day, and then not so good at night, you know. But
it's tough, you know. That's when I think people usually let up a little bit. You know what I mean? Is that night?
He just had a chocolate chip cookie right before the live. He was like shoving it in his mouth as I was like trying to log on. He's like, "You can wait a little bit to log on." And he had a whole cookie in his mouth, one of these oversized ones. I'm like, we're having a nutrition talk, and here he is. Like,
you know what I say? Progress, not perfection, right? You need progress. We just need slow steps every single day, not perfection.
I just love the sweets, man. I love it. And there's a whole thing of cookies sitting there, and I walk past it. And yes, I can not open it, but I don't want to do
But he's opened it 7 times since it was bought.
Yeah. Someone just asked, it's nutritional yeast, if you can see.
And you get that from where? Ralph's? I mean,
you can get it at Ralph's. You can get it at Trader Joe's. It just comes in like a package like this at Trader Joe's. This is another thing that I brought too. If for people who are wanting to transition and are like, where do I get my protein from? Where do I get my protein? Hemp seeds are a great form of plant-based protein. In 2 tablespoons, you get 10 grams of protein.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that tastes like what?
I would say Dr. Justin's probably gonna laugh. It has a really like a nice like nutty flavor to it.
These nutties.
You know, it is, but it's not like such a strong. You can put it and sprinkle it on like smoothies and stuff like that. It's not like too earthy tasting. You know what I mean?
And you have mentioned before to me that, you know, when it comes to like breads and things like that, you want one that's like sprouted versus unsprouted bread. And what's the difference in that? Right.
So when grains are made and flour and things like that go into making and bread, grains typically they're picked and harvested and they're not sprouted. So they haven't what is the word that I'm looking for?
Like matured?
Yes. And it has what's called phytic acid in it. And it can leave you feeling really, really bloated when you eat something that's unsprouted. And
is that the outer casing around the wheat?
Yes. And so when people eat bread and things like that, oftentimes their bellies expand. It's called like a wheat belly and things like that. And your belly expands because all of that phytic acid that hasn't been sprouted yet in the grains and things is not good for digestion. It makes people feel really, really bloated. So I like Ezekiel sprouted grain breads are really good. Sourdough is typically a little bit better as well. And so if you are going to choose, you know, breads to eat, like the Ezekiel sprouted grain bread is always at the top of my list. Rudy's also has some really great breads for people who are trying to be conscious of their weight and things like that, and they're healthier. So it's spelled R-U-D-I-S. Rudy's, they have great breads, bagels, things like that. It's all sprouted grains. And it makes it a lot easier to just digest, you know. You shouldn't feel, you know, how you feel after you eat is a good indication of like what the food is doing in your body.
And what do you think of those fat bombs that have been also all the rage? People buy these fat bombs. They're very high in calorie.
What is it?
The fat bombs.
Fat bombs?
Yeah, they call them fat bombs. They're like peanut butter and oat, and they're like little tiny calorie, like, I guess
Yeah.
if you're snacking multiple little snacks?
You know, I think that things like that are probably maybe good, like before a workout or something, where you're looking for maybe something that's a little bit higher in calorie, that's going to give you that energy and that punch right before you burn a lot of calories and things like that. But, again, if your goal is to lose weight, you have to be mindful of those things. You know what I mean? Instead of having something like that, protein balls. Yeah, I see that. Those aren't bad. All of those can serve a purpose in your diet, Dr. Justin.
Nuts and balls.
Those things can serve purpose in your diet. It all just depends on what your goals are. Yeah.
That's it.
I know, like, for a lot of people, if they're, especially right now, since it's like summertime, we're approaching summer, people's goals are to like lose weight and to get their summer bodies ready. So I would definitely say stick with the warm water with lemon, get your smoothies, leafy greens at lunch, and then, don't be afraid to have some, sweet potatoes, and maybe some grains and things like that at dinner. That will definitely help trim people down, give you the energy that you need to work out, things like that.
High carb.
Now we're talking about the sweet potatoes.
That sounds like, but that's like, it's kind of high carby carb, right?
It's all energy, Dr. Sarah. It's all going to give you your body, and your body's going to burn through it so quickly.
Yeah. I need to get on that treadmill.
Tyler's got a big cookie in his hand.
Tyler does?
Healthy eating.
Yeah, he's healthy eating right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Another very informative day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Very inspiring, and your excitement is.
So we have one last question. What's your favorite protein shake by Mrs. Mac?
There's all kinds of plant-based proteins on the market, and I have tried them all, and most of them
taste terrible.
Gross. They're really gross, and they're chalky. And so I found 310, and they have amazing flavors. They're very high in protein, great ingredients, really, really awesome ingredients. It's a pea protein, brown rice, things like that. And it has really been a game changer for me. This is something that I've incorporated over the last couple of years. And so 310 Nutrition for me has really worked. Salted caramel is my favorite flavor, and chocolate, of course.
Salted caramel. We know you like that.
Love that chocolate.
And then, so you said one quick other question. You said 32 ounces of water.
Yes.
And then you were saying
24 to 32 ounces,
So 32 ounces is 4 glasses of water, but you have 1 lemon. Are you taking that 1 lemon and spreading it out? It's not 1 lemon every time you get a glass, right?
Try and get like a big glass that you can have your lemon water in, okay? And I just saw my friend Caitlin join, and just joined the live, and she has been doing the lemon water, and it is a game changer. And I'm telling you, it's such an important thing. She loves the salted caramel flavor too.
Well, show us your water again. Show us your water jug for the people that are watching. So are you pouring one lemon in that?
Yeah, you could.
Okay.
I don't pour lemon in this. I drink a huge jug or a huge glass of water before I come in that has the half of the organic lemon squeezed in it.
A half a lemon.
Yep.
Okay. And then what do you do with the other half? Save it for the next day?
I save it for the next day.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
game
acid.
changer. Oh yeah. See, Caitlin said game changer for acid reflux and heartburn.
I get heartburn, so maybe I should start doing that.
You should. And I'm telling you, 2 weeks, have a plant-based breakfast, right? And you've already made some changes with the plant-based creamer, and it's good,
Yeah.
So you're almost there,
Well, I mean, in general, like my whole life, I've kind of always intermittent fasted. I've never had breakfast. I've never been a big breakfast person. Mm-hmm. I've always been.
Bye, Dr. Justin.
Bye.
I've never been a huge breakfast person. I've always just waited till noon, but I've had my morning coffee, and everyone keeps telling me creamer's so bad. Creamer's the devil. don't eat cream or only have a black, but I don't like the taste of it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I definitely don't think I could just drink black coffee, but you know, I left the sample of the protein shake on your desk.
Okay, I'll try that tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe that's something that you can incorporate as your breakfast, you know, but liquids in the morning, that's going to be the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to go to Austin, and we have my friend's birthday to celebrate, and that is only in like 2 months. So now's the time for me to, you know.
Yep.
Get skinny.
Love it.
So, well, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for all the helpful tips. I'm going to start tomorrow with the water with lemon, and we're going to see how that goes.
Yes, awesome. We'll have to do another one of these with a little update on some of the lifestyle changes with you, our patients, if they're making them as well. We would love to hear how that's working out for them too.
And I'm going to apologize to all my patients in advance that are coming in tomorrow for all the bathroom breaks that I'll be going on. Yeah. Once I drink all that water in the morning. So they have to
right?
With me.
Right? Honestly.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you guys
Bye.
soon. Bye.